Are you ready to get your health back but feel overwhelmed by the endless healthcare options? We believe God has called each of us to a specific assignment, and we want to make sure your body, mind, and heart are up for the task. It's time to simplify the process of healing. At Cornerstone Integrative Healing, we offer simple, effective, easy ways to prioritize your health and gain understanding. No prescription pad needed. I'm Kari, Coody, a pharmacist turned integrative health practitioner. I'm so excited to have these conversations around topics with my friend, Jenn.
Hi there, I'm Jenn, and together with our team at Cornerstone Integrative Healing, we offer an alternative to traditional healthcare, combining our expertise and experience in the medical field with our knowledge and faith to break the cycles of guessing what's wrong. We know the road to healing, feeling good again, can be overwhelming. You can expect honest conversations around the ups and downs of healing. The truth is, there are so many layers to healing. Because we've taken the time to learn where true healing comes from, we've learned how to help other women discover a different way of caring for themselves. Join us every week for new episodes as we discuss topics that are personal and pertinent to your healing journey.
Welcome back to the Cornerstone Integrative Healing Podcast. Jenn and Kari here with Marina, one of our practitioners, and we've got a great topic for you today, and one that I don't know, might be a new topic, or might be, just maybe you've already realized how just taking in so much information can actually affect you mentally, physically, and spiritually. So we're going to kind of be just sharing some of our thoughts on that today, and things that we've seen personally and with clients, and just how we really need to be aware of this, and how it can keep us stuck in our healing journey, and how it can just keep us hyper fixated on really maybe sometimes the negative, and just constantly keep us in this fixed mentality. So I'm excited for this topic today. How about you girls?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I know personally, I was always searching for more answers, more topics. What else? What don't I know? How does, this interact, rather than just sitting back? Because sometimes we forget that someone with a higher pay grade is in charge.
True.
And we can have all the answers and it still doesn't matter.
I think that too, and I don't know about you, Marina, but I know Jenn, she just loves to learn. I like to learn too. You probably do as well. And many of you listening do too. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Sometimes there needs to be a cutoff, or a line drawn almost, because it can really go south quick whenever we have access to so much information, and it's all great. But yeah, it can just be a lot. And our mind really wasn't made to take in all of this information 24/7 with no breaks. And
that's the key. Yeah, right. It's nonstop information, right? And more information doesn't necessarily mean the answer. Like sometimes it's just in God's timing, right? Like we literally we might know the answer, or have found the answer long ago, and it's just not in God's timing.
Well, the thing is, we take in information, and I know that we're practitioners helping other people, but it goes both ways, right? We take in information for ourselves, but also for other people. I mean, just speaking for taking in information, trying to kind of help ourselves, we can't really take action on all that information. And so it's like it just kind of goes to sit there. It really isn't put into place. And so, yeah, like you said, Jenn, we might have found our answer, but we didn't really take action on it because we found 10 other things that we could do as well, and chose one of those.
Right.
And I don't know if, some people have my personality in that. For me, it can't be my fault if I have enough information. So
right.
If I stay sick, or if I can't heal, but I did everything I could, and I did all the information gathering and all the learning, then it can't be my fault. It's out of my hands. So that was more of a mental thing for me that I had to work through, that it's not our fault. It's not our fault if we have too much, too little, not like it just is sometimes. And so that was a big mindset shift for me, is that I had to release the fault of staying where I was.
Yeah.
I think too, today where we're at with, so much information being right at our fingertips, it's kind of put this pressure on us to be the expert in our own healing versus, maybe trusting an expert or trusting somebody else. And I see that a lot. Not saying that I know everything, any of us know everything, not saying that, but it's like we see clients that come wanting answers, but yet I'm, maybe sharing, this is what I see, this is what I see, this is the plan. And they're like, but what about this? But what about this? Well, I saw this person talking about this. And it really does impede us from actually taking our hands off of our situation and letting somebody else guide us, which it can be just what you need to do. I think about too how, whenever they started putting prescription medication ads on TV, now everybody goes to their doctor and he's like, well, do I need this medication? What about this medication? So I think that it started back in the 80s. But it's just, that I see that really as being a barrier.
And there's a balance, I think, right? Like, we're not saying don't be an advocate for your own health. Absolutely.
Yeah,
You should know.
maybe we can
Right.
talk about that difference. What do you think?
I think that being an advocate, especially in mainstream now, is super important because no one knows your body and mind better than you do. But at the same time, as Kari said, sometimes being knee deep in the situation is you can't see, the forest for the trees. And so, having someone look from the outside in, and also just surrendering, right? Like, there's lots of clients who, and I get it, like some of them, they are super anxious. And so, they just want to be out of this uncomfortable anxiety, which I understand. But at the same time, sometimes you have to trust the process, right? If they come to someone like us that we've, walked this journey with other people before. And, we understand that A, B, and C needs to happen before you can get D, right? And so sometimes just trusting that process of, your practitioner needs to peel the onion. And, again, ultimately it's God's timing also.
Yeah.
And also just realizing like there's not one way to treat something.
Right.
So just because one practitioner does it differently than another doesn't mean one is right and one is wrong. Again, we're back to that black and white mentality, like, oh, this is yes, this is no. But there's so much gray in this, and there could be 10 different ways to treat a certain chronic condition, and they all could work for some person. So
Absolutely.
it's just recognizing that too, and just keeping that in the back of your mind that there's just not one way. And if someone treats with one supplement versus another, that could work for that person or that could not,
Right.
So,
And that's why it's important too, I think, even if you have a diagnosis, right? So you've gotten a diagnosis, and something worked for somebody else, that doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. You could have 4 people with the same diagnosis, and as Morena said, they're presenting with the same symptoms, and quote unquote, mainstream has diagnosed this to fit in a box. However, people heal in a very unique way, physically, emotionally, spiritually. And so each case, even though they have the same diagnosis, needs to be approached in a different way. And they all get better, but with the same diagnosis, with different roadmaps.
That's because a diagnosis doesn't often look at the whole person, right? We're trying to look at the whole person, and just the whole body. And it's just a different approach. So maybe that's a mindset thing too, that hopefully you could be encouraged to kind of look at things differently.
Right.
Let's chat about how, constantly having all this information coming in and maybe getting, really trying to figure out what the right path is for you. How does that keep us stuck in the fix it mentality? And what have you guys seen that do? Maybe for your own health or in clients in practice.
It's literally like the opposite of safety. So if we're constantly jumping from one thing to the next, we are telling our bodies, I am not safe and content in what I know today. So I have to go and search for more. So it's literally signaling the opposite of safety to our bodies, which is triggering the nervous system, triggering fight or flight, all the things, right? And
Yeah,
just,
that's a good point, Marina. Actually, it keeps your brain going, right? It keeps that rat in there running constantly.
Yeah. I think sometimes we have this mentality of thinking what are we missing? We always need to add something. But I've seen it be so healing to actually take away some things, right? Like peel back the onion per se, as far as just goodness. There's so many things we could be doing for our health that none of them individually are bad, but yet we're not made to just be on this, I don't know, hamster wheel of doing all the healthy things. I mean, sometimes if you have a great routine, it actually could be too triggering to your system, right? There's not enough time to rest. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the other thing is the rest part. Like we always feel like we need the biggest gadget, the latest supplement, the latest diet. And when all we really need is just to go outside and sit in the grass. Like,
right.
Don't underestimate how healing that is.
Just like
Yes.
grounding for me has been so life-changing. And it literally is just going outside.
Yes.
Free.
Let me just point out that most of what we recommend as far as lifestyle stuff is free. And it works.
Every time.
Nice.
Right.
Just have to do it.
Right.
I think we kind of
believe this it works too. I think that's
yes.
You can't just be doing this is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
So Kari, do you want to talk, I think, or maybe Marina, you have a good experience with this. Like, what were some of the signs that you were sort of in information overload and spiraling? Because you just said before we got on, like, I recognize this now that I'm working with people. I see it in other people because I was there.
I was probably pretty bad.
I'm laughing.
I love you, but I would concur.
And I think it's because I didn't have years of like functional medicine, holistic, integrative medicine behind my belt, right? I wasn't born into this. So I didn't have it like trickled throughout my life. It was like year 3 of fertility struggles, all in. Like I was learning everything about it all at once. So I think to put on the defense a little bit, that was a little bit of my issue, is that I was given all of this information at one time. So I felt like I just constantly had to, keep learning more and more. But that kept me stuck. And I promise you, it kept me stuck. And if anything you learn from this, that's it. Like it will keep you stuck. It will keep the nerves going. It will keep your mind activated, your stomach in knots, whatever that, your gut in complete disarray.
Because you're second guessing. You're right. Yeah. And you don't know what's working because you're trying so many things at once.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If that's you, just go back to the basics, truly. Like
sleep, minerals, blood sugar, grounding.
I mean, really, those things right there, you can't out supplement that. You don't really until those basics. That's why sometimes I think people get tired of hearing like foundations or basics, but people just
work.
Putting over them. They work. That's why you hear not only us but others talking about that. I mean, maybe they're not the fun new thing, but like, yeah.
But that's where fundamentally the rubber hits the road. Like that's where the healing is going to happen if you're consistent with the foundational things on a daily basis, getting enough sleep, balancing your blood sugar, grounding, circadian rhythm, getting your first morning light. Like though, if you don't have those, as Kari said, you can't supplement your way or special, biohack tool it out. Yeah. Like there's nothing that compete with those.
Right. And, we're talking about like the cost on your health, that keeping in that the rat race keeps you in, but it's also monetary costs. Like if you're constantly buying all this new stuff and you're not allowing supplements to work, so you're just keep adding and changing, that's costly to your budget too. So it's
Amen.
It's just it's costly all around. So when we say cost, it's across everything.
Right. I mean, yeah, that's what I've seen, I guess, over the last, I don't know, 10, 12 years that I've kind of like been in this space. I mean, that's where people are making money. They're making money off gadgets, off supplements, off, getting you to buy the thing. And again, we're not saying those things aren't helpful and they might not be what you need at this point. We're not saying any of that. It's just sometimes it's all a lot. And we do have to realize that this is a business in itself. So I think we all have to be discerning. I think that's what sometimes is missing. We're constantly on the lookout for what's going to fix our problem. And so then we just keep dumping money in without really releasing control, asking the Lord, really going back to those fundamentals or those in place, because again, we want what we want right now. And so I think sometimes it's about, we just want to make it happen. We want healing to happen at whatever cost, the quickest possible. And that's actually, not that some of those things wouldn't help, but I think it goes back to your mentality behind it. And only you know that. We're not trying to judge anybody. I mean, certainly I don't, please hear us when we say, you just need to be discerning about where God's leading you. And that takes time and intention.
Yeah. And as we've always said, and are reminded ourselves very often, God doesn't work in formulas.
No.
So it's really about listening to your body, listening to where you are emotionally, spiritually. And as Kari said, discerning some of those things, because what we have seen, and I've seen this, Marina has seen this, she said it, so is Kari, is sometimes, because of course we're on the outside looking in, it's easier to see that these people are really struggling emotionally and spiritually, right? They can't see that yet, right?
100%.
And don't get me wrong, sometimes you do need to stabilize the physical in order to do the emotional and spiritual work. So that's
what we're saying is actually, thinking about your mindset does stabilize the physical.
Right.
Truly.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if you're hungry and anxious because you haven't eaten in 7 hours, right? It's hard to do.
Maybe you just need a meal.
Right. Yeah. Right. Instead of like it being some complicated thing, maybe you just need to eat more. Literally.
And I want to touch on, and we've touched on this, listening to your body and not listening to the influencer's body. So, we're just a little quick example of just recently what has helped me is really just eating more meat. And I've never had this sense of fullness before ever in my life.
Wow.
I have always been hungry. Kari knows that. I was hungry all the time. And I'm like, what? And I followed, you have to eat.
And you were eating clean, right?
Yes, I was eating clean. I was just starving all the time. And what really, really helped me was just eating 10 ounces of meat with every meal. And I don't care what, some influencer says is bad or good. It has made my digestion completely different. And I feel better, and I'm not, oh gosh, I need a snack now. What am I going to do? I don't have a snack. No, I'm full now. I don't eat a lot of grains. I don't eat as many veggies as I probably should, but sometimes you just got to toss it up and be like, this is what's working for me. This is what God has led me to do. I'm going to listen to him, and I feel better. So you have to just come back to listening to yourself, listening to your body, ignore, and it may not be that forever. You might go through a phase where this is working for you now, and then you can go back to more balanced later on. And that's okay. You don't have to follow what everybody else is doing, because that's not always going to work for you. We've said that. But I just want to emphasize that, because just recently I had this huge thing. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care what everyone, I'm just caring what people say.
Right. You're doing what's right for you and what works for your body. Right. And that's so funny because I think that's probably one of the biggest questions that I always get, like, which diet should I eat? How should I eat? And I, in my head, I'm thinking, I have no idea because it's different for everybody. First of all, here in the States, we come from a mosaic of different countries, backgrounds, and genetic makeup. And so to say that keto is good for you or paleo is good for you or a balanced diet is good for you, it's different for everybody. Now, can we use certain diets to facilitate keto for weight loss, whatever, short term? Absolutely. But I think as a whole, there's not quote unquote one style of eating that works for everybody, and that their that physiology really thrives on. It really is catered and curated for each individual. And so, again, as we mentioned, listen to your own body's sort of algorithm. And, as we said, God doesn't work in formulas. While some of these influencers, might have great things to say and good advice, and, it might not work for you specifically. And that's okay.
I mean, we're talking about being discerning and really listening to your body. You got to decrease the amount of info that's coming in to be able to do that. So having boundaries around your phone is absolutely critical, not only for your health, but just for your spiritual walk and for your emotion. I mean, it's just, we were never meant to have that for much information coming in and at our fingertips, I don't think, and I think the enemy works a lot through distraction. Phone, like, try to have boundaries around your phone. I try to, just sharing what that kind of looks like. I'm not perfect at all. I try to just not be on my phone as much on the weekends, delete social media apps. And then I try to give my phone a bedtime. So like 8:30 or whatever it might be, I don't sleep with it by my bedside. I'll put it in my bathroom where it's plugged in. And try to have some quiet time in the morning before you get on your phone immediately. I mean, it makes a huge difference, I think, with how your day goes, just like eating breakfast makes a big difference, and just like how you start your morning. So these are just little things and little ways. And I think it really does start with being aware that it's just affecting us. I think sometimes we just don't realize how much it's affecting us. And if you're like, I don't really think it's affecting me, well, just try some of these things and see how it affects you to not be on your phone as much and inputting information. And sometimes we need to unfollow people also that maybe are just not right for us at the time to follow. I know that we're sharing, Myrna, that you did that and it really helped. And I've also done that.
Yeah, super important. Yeah.
Leaning into the things that we've talked about, which is just, maybe somatic exercises to, slow down or to tell the nervous system it's safe, more prayer time, meditation, or even just quiet. I know it's like an odd concept nowadays, but
so odd, but
it's so funny you mentioned that. Sometimes I just sit on the couch and it just looks over into our backyard and I just sit there with the dog and my husband will come in and he'll be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just staring." No, it's okay.
Yeah, it's a good thing.
Just having nothing.
Recalibrating.
Yeah. It's been really, really helpful. And
well, have more fun. Find a hobby. I mean, we don't really, we need more fun in our lives, I think, most people.
True.
Yeah. I love this conversation. I think it's needed. I think that, we hope that it points you more to the Lord to discern, what He's asking you to do specifically, because nobody else can tell you that. You need to really take this, what we've talked about, and just pray about it and follow the lead that He gives. But it's an important topic. We've all seen it personally and with clients. So
thanks for listening, everybody. We really appreciate it. If you have any prayer requests, need to reach out, have questions, we'd love to pray for you. So please reach out. Till the next time, everybody. If this episode has served you in any way, drop a review wherever you listen to podcasts. We'd love it if you'd share any aha moments or takeaways on Instagram and tag us at Cornerstone Integrative Healing.
And if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please do so. We want to continue to walk this journey with you. Until next time, friends, know that we are praying for you.